Hey, thanks for joining us here on the Coach for Life podcast. Here on the show, we talk with coaches who have not only had great success on the scoreboard, but have also had long-term success helping their players win in life. Coach, you have an incredible opportunity to make a lifelong difference in the life of your players. Don't miss it. This episode is all about family. From time spent with his dad catching passes in the living room to showing his players what a real family looks like. Unfortunately, many players across the country don't know what a true family looks like. Coaches, you can have a huge role in standing in the gap, providing a family that will help players win in life. Coach B.J. Brooks shares his thoughts on this and many other topics. Let's jump in.
I was lucky enough to go play football at Jacksonville State for a year and a half. What are you going to do? You going to tell them you're tired?
Yeah.
Or are you going to find a way to get it done? That ain't going to happen. You know, they're out there trying to embarrass you.
They pass that on, and that's what our goal is.
You committed to this, you're going to do it. It's just going to help your child in the long run to support them. Say, well, you better find a way to get it done.
And there's no end date. There's no expiration date. All right, again, I'm excited to have our guest today, former assistant coach at Hoover High School.
Correct.
And at Etowah High School, and now the head coach for Sardis, the Sardis Lions, Coach B.J. Brooks. Coach, great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an awesome little setup you got here. I'm happy to be here and to be a part of it.
Well, we certainly appreciate you being here and look forward to getting hearing what you have to say. Obviously, as being a high school coach, you've been around athletics most of your life. When did you know, when was it you first fell in love with sports, I guess?
Well, growing up at my house, I was the baby, and I had two older sisters, and what's kind of crazy is neither one of them really participated in sports much, but I did. My dad grew up playing sports. My dad played in the Pony League World Series, finished second in the world, played quarterback, played basketball. He did it all. And so, I guess being with my dad and my dad teaching me how to play sports and spending time with him is when I really decided I want to play sports. And I remember, you go to a high school football game on a Friday night and cheerleaders throw in them little plastic footballs. And,
yeah.
They're used, I don't even know if Shoney's are still open. But, you could go into Shoney's and they'd have an SEC football.
Yeah.
And it would have every single team on it. And I would ask my dad, well, who is this team? He's like, that's the Arkansas Razorbacks. And he would come up and he would draw me a schedule in the living room. And, I would be whoever. I'm B.J. Brooks. I'm a starting wide receiver for the Auburn Tigers. And he'd be like, we're down to Georgia. Down 5, you got to catch 3 passes in a row in the living room. He's in there throwing me balls, and we lost. We're 8-2. We're going to wind up. We're not going to get to go to the Rose Bowl this year. We're going to go to the Cotton Bowl. And so I just grew up, playing sports, and just honestly my whole life.
Yeah, that's neat. So you had an early relationship with your dad was revolved around sports.
For sure.
Awesome.
So I played at Glencoe, graduated from there. Was lucky enough to go play football at Jacksonville State for a year and a half and played outside linebacker there. I was a little bit heftier than I was now. It's about 240 then. And honestly, I hated it. It was terrible.
Really?
I just knew I wanted to play college football my whole life. And then when I got there, I said, man, this is nothing like what I thought it was. And but I've still made great relationships, with people there and coaches there. And I knew I wanted to coach, and I was going into education, and it just kind of worked out where after a year and a half there, I had an opportunity to get straight into coaching at Cherokee County, and I just went in it and been coaching ever since.
Define discipline in your mind. What does that look like? What is it?
Man, it's very, very hard to be disciplined, and that's what I tell our team all the time, as far as. That's what it takes. You want to be really good. When it's tough, you got to take a 6-inch step. When we need you to take a 6-inch step. This Wednesday, we work out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And this week they're kind of feeling sorry for themselves. We run stadiums on Tuesdays. They hate that, and it's tough.
Yeah.
Life's tough.
Yeah.
You're tired. You're feeling sorry for yourself. And so I point around the weight room, and I say, Coach Gilmer, you tired? Coach Roberts, are you tired?
Yeah.
We're all tired. That's part of being a man. One day you're all going to be tired. One day you're going to be tired, and your wife's going to need you. They're going to be looking for you to be the leader of their household. Your kids are going to need you. What are you going to do? You going to tell them you're tired?
Yeah.
Or are you going to find a way to get it done? You know, so I try to give them little snippets like that all the time too, because, you know, one day you might think I'm an idiot now, but you'll understand one day.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I can remember us saying, whoever we played the first week, you think they care if you're tired?
Hey.
They don't. They want you to be tired.
I tell my guys all the time, hey, when you're out there and you're playing and you're feeling sorry for yourself, have any of them guys ever been blocking you and said, hey, man, I feel sorry for you? That ain't going to happen. You know, they're out there trying to embarrass you.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, good stuff. But you feel like players have, I mean, let me ask you, how many years have you been in coaching? You talked about coming out of college early and or getting involved in coaching while you were still in school, I'm guessing.
Gosh, yeah. So I would probably say 13 or 14 years.
So in that time, how have players changed for the better or for the you know, maybe negative?
I don't know how much players have changed as much as parents have changed. Just like I talked about, my friends growing up, basically, if my coach told me to do it, I did it.
Yeah.
And my parents made sure that
I
did what the coach said.
What
Well, what did coach do? Coach said you go out there and run them 10 poles. Well, you better go run them 10 poles.
That's right.
You know, where nowadays I think kids are just so much more aware of so many different things out there too, that if they don't like something, they just won't do it.
Move on.
Or if it's tough, they think they don't have to do it, and their parents support them and not do it. Not all parents, but I think it's more prevalent for the parents to support them to not do things.
Not fight through the difficulty.
Sure, and like I said, I'm a dad.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see their kid go through hard times. You know, it's tough. Like I said, life stuff, playing football stuff, playing sports stuff. You know, and to me, it's just going to help your child in the long run to support them. Say, well, you better find a way to get it done. You committed to this, you're going to do it.
You've talked about how coaches have had a big impact in your life. How much impact can a coach actually have on their players?
Okay, so Billy Graham, you know, his quote is, a coach will have more impact in 1 year than most people will in their life. Man, you know, it's endless. And it could be positive or negative, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But really, I mean, really and truly, the impact is it's unmeasurable. You know, I mean, you've coached as far as just, that's the best part about it is getting a text from a kid, or a kid coming back 4 years later and he's like, Coach, this is my son. I'm like, man, I can't believe you found a girl dumb enough to date you, you know, or marry you, you know. But and just, you know, and just them saying, you know, thank you for, you know, for so many things that, you know, I thought you were an idiot.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't have a clue what you were talking about, and now I know, you know, the impact it's immeasurable in my opinion.
Yeah, I can remember players saying, Coach, I thought about what you told me, and man, of course it makes you reflect on, okay, what did I tell him? But you know, when you can tell it had a positive impact, it's just powerful.
Oh, it is.
And they pass that on, and that's what our goal is. You have a challenges, and I think anybody that coaches, you know, you have certain number of students or players that come from two parent homes. They got a lot of support, a lot of positive support, like you mentioned earlier. What about the players that come from maybe a father deficient home, or they just don't get a lot when they get home? How do you feel like you can have an impact in their lives?
You know, and it's, when I grew up, and maybe I was just desensitized to it, or it wasn't, you know, didn't seem as prevalent, but it's even more so now that you see it. And I think what I try to tell them all the time is, you don't know what good looks like because you ain't ever seen it.
Yeah.
So how do I show them what good looks like? How do I show them what a good man looks like? how do I, and tell our staff, how do we show them? They don't know what it looks like. We have to show them what a good dad looks like. That's why I want our family and our wives, our children around as much as possible. I want them to see the man you are. I want them to see the dad you are. Because no matter what, you may be coach, win multiple state titles, win whatever, you're a person the rest of your life. So that's what I try to tell them all the time. They're always going to remember the type of person you are.
Yeah.
So that's what we really try to do, is model it so that they can't say, well, they have no excuse to say, I don't know what it looks like. We try to show them what a good dad and what a good man should be like, and not what the definition of the world tells them.
Because you touched on this, but I'm going to give you another chance, let you maybe hammer it home. Cornerstone or the bedrock of Sardis football, what would you want people to take away if I came and spent a week around your program? What would you want me to carry away from there?
We always want it to be about God, everything we do, and to glorify Him. But ultimately, that's what I tell them all the time. We want you to be good people. The four phases of our program is, in reverse order, is we want you to be a good football player. I'm your football coach. We want you to be, if you're not good football players, I probably won't be here real long. They'll push me out. They'll get somebody else in here.
You need a few good ones, for sure.
I want you to be involved in as many things as possible. We want you to be the best athlete possible. We share players. We want you to have as much success and have as many people pouring into you as possible. We want you to be the best student possible, because 99% of you aren't going to play anything past this sport or past your high school days. And the most is like I said, it's the best person. Tom Brady, in my opinion, is the best quarterback that's ever played professional football. Well, he's done. So I mean, he's got a person to be the rest of his life.
Right.
And so that's what we say, is we want them to be the best people, and we try to make it as much Christian based as the Cornerstone as possible in our program.
Right. Every Friday night, two teams will go against each other, and one will win and one will lose.
Yeah.
And some people call that one team had success, the other team had failure. Maybe tell us a time where failure, you don't stay in your failure. How maybe you experienced a personal failure that led to some very positive results.
I'm a very self-reflective person. You can always take some silver linings and some good from any negative situation if you really look for it. It's hard to find it sometimes. Sometimes it's really, really hard to find it. And a 56-0 loss, I mean, you might be looking around saying, well, I guess, hey, we got out of this thing healthy. Nobody got hurt.
No ambulance was involved.
Or nobody got coptered out of the stadium.
Right.
But you may sit there and say, hey, well, here's the positive. We're not near as good as we thought we are. We still got a lot of work left to do.
Plenty we can work on.
Plenty we can work on. Failure can be a hard thing to handle too, but as long as you're just learning and you're growing, that's the most important thing, because you're going to fail. It's inevitable. Failure is going to hit you. And it's really about, how are you going to respond to it?
We're never a finished product.
Ever. It's just like you're walking your Christian life. Every day, that walk of sanctification, of you trying to get closer and closer and closer, just trying to be the best version of yourself and the best version that God wants you to be, whether that's, you being the best person, you being the best football player, you being the best student. It's just the ongoing process.
Obviously, when you're building a team, you mentioned already you got to have talent.
Oh, yeah. If you want to win, I mean, yeah.
Well, and again, the results so you got to have talent. But what other attributes do you look for in players and say, I can trust this one, I can trust that one? Maybe they're not the most talented player, and that's where you win. I'm convinced of that. But what attributes are you looking for?
For one, like I said, we always look for good people. Because, sometimes for you to be really good, You might not have just a team full of choir boys that just are, never at the principal's office or never do anything bad. There's definitely a lot of redirection in teenage boys that you have to distribute.
Right. And that's
and sometimes those guys need a change of scenery. Hey, if I can get you around 4 really good kids, they might not be necessarily as good a player as you, but they're going to help you be a better person. They're going to help you stay out of trouble. They're going to help you be around different people. So we look for characteristics of good people, hard workers, people that are accountable, people that are going to do the right things. And, that's one thing I tell the guys all the time. There's never a bad time to do the right thing, ever. So we try to find people like that, people that are going to be accountable, people that are disciplined, people. That's what I tell them all the time, too. I don't care how talented you are. If I can't trust you,
right,
you're not going to play,
Yeah, that's well said. And you think lessons that players can take from athletics, and you shared your your story about that. But what are some lessons that they can take from athletics that will apply to them being what we want to talk about is being the best husband, or being the husband their wife deserves, being the father their children deserve?
Yeah, well, for one, like I said, it's hard. Life is hard. Being a dad is hard. It prepares you. I think football more so than any other sport, that life will kick your butt. And sometimes you're tired of taking on that double team. And it gets tiring, but you got to keep doing it. You got to keep getting up every single morning, strapping your boots up, going to work, because there's somebody in that house that needs you. There's going to be 2 little girls or 3 little girls or 2 little boys that they're growing up and they're watching every single thing you do. And they see what you do more than what you say.
Oh, yeah.
So, to me, that's what it's all about right there, is for life being tough and them having to see you work through those things, because it just prepares you for it.
A time maybe when you were called in to be a surrogate parent for one of your players or students, that if there's an accident or if it was something that happened at their house, or just a time when you filled in that parent role.
I can give you an example right now about one of those kids that was in that video. Single parent home, just a mom, got 4 other sisters. They got sickle cell. Mom's constantly working 2 jobs, constantly having to go to Atlanta to get treatments. Man, we'll let that guy pick him up, take him anywhere we go, take him to get him food. I mean, basically, just take him in on your wing and try to help him any way you can. I'll tell you a funny story. I was picking him up one day, and I thought, man, we got to run to my house real quick. I forgot something. Then I'll take you home. I'll get you a drink there. You want a drink? And we come out, and he says, Coach, man, what kind of dog is that you got in the backyard? And I said, well, man, so why don't you go over there to the fence and try to pet it? And he goes back there. He says, oh, man, this is a goat. I had a goat in the backyard that my wife had actually got me for Father's Day. I'd been joking around saying, hey, I want a goat. Yeah. And so she got me a goat. And, and he went back there and he was like, oh, my gosh, it's the crazy. And he's like, oh, it's not a dog at all. It's a goat. But things like that, taking kids certain, a couple of them guys right there, we would rent a church van, and I'd take them guys all over the place, recruiting stuff, hanging out with them. But that one specifically, I mean, let him come stay with you, sleep on the couch, do whatever, just try to do whatever he can to make sure that he's going to be successful.
Yeah, I think the thing about a coach and player relationship is once you have a player that plays for you, they're yours.
Yeah.
And there's no end date on that. There's no expiration date.
Nope.
They're yours.
That's what I tell them. That's what I tell them every Friday night. I'm proud to be your coach, and I'm always going to be your coach.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or you don't, I'm your coach.
That's it. That's what you got.
Yeah.
Well said. You talked about your dad earlier. Tell us about your dad. More of your personal relationship, things that you learned maybe outside of sports from your dad.
I haven't learned enough. I mean, my dad, Man, my dad grew up with nothing. He was a mechanic. He had to work for basically everything he's ever got in his life. He was a really good sports player growing up. I was actually ran by the house last night, and I was looking through his old books that me and my sisters made for him, all his old newspaper clippings of, throwing touchdown passes and scoring 30 points and all of those things. And I can't tell you how many times looking back, I might have been watching, Shaq and Kobe playing for the Lakers, and my dad said, "Hey son, come here in the garage real quick. Let me show you how to cut this PVC pipe or whatever." I'm like, "Dad, man, it's game 6. I'm trying to watch the basketball game.
Right.
Just show me later." He's like, "Well, you're gonna need to know this one day." And I'm like, "Dad, I don't care. I don't care about that PVC pipe."
Yeah.
And looking back on it now, you sit there and say, "What an idiot!
You missed an opportunity.
Why did I not go out there with my dad?" And I'm lucky and blessed and fortunate enough that my dad's still alive. So he's still trying to teach me stuff every day. But there's just so many little things like that I think back on that you just beat yourself up about because you're like, man, you could have went out there and you could have learned something from him. And he teaches me something all the time. And he's also always the one there to tell me when I'm wrong. And when somebody else will tell me something that I don't want to hear, but I need to hear. And, the thing he would always tell me is he would, when I was growing up, he'd say, "Son, I'm your biggest critic, but I'm also your biggest fan."
Yeah.
And he said, "Don't ever forget that. I'm going to tell you the stuff that nobody else will tell you, but I'm also going to be there to love you and tell you how proud of you I am no matter what." So I could never put it into words.
Well, Coach, one of the things that we try to do here is kind of give you a gift back for thanking you for being a part of this project. And we've got some tributes that some of your and it's impressive to me to hear. I hadn't seen any of these until yesterday, and to hear some what people say about their coach, what people say about and it speaks highly of you. And at the time, right now, we'd like for you to watch that and again, like I said, thank you for being a part of this.
Well, just so I know, I'm a crier.
That's all right.
Thank you, Coach Brooks, for everything you have done for me and my family and my friends and just the community of Sardis. Love you, Coach.
You're a great example. You're a great leader. You do things the right way, and I appreciate that, and I'm going to ride with you to the end, Coach.
What's up, Coach Brooks?
Awesome kid, right?
I just want to say, man, that I'm thankful for you. I love you, and I'm thankful for how much you've poured into us guys. It was an honor playing under you.
Thank you for seeing the potential in me, believing in me, pouring into me.
And you guys still cared about me. You always check in with me and see how I was doing. I just really appreciate you and just so much that you have done for me and also many other young men within their lives.
Hey, Daddy, we love you so much. Thank you for always spending time with us and coaching us in softball and basketball. You're the best daddy ever. Love you. Bye.
Coach, I want to thank you for the impact that you're having, the positive direction that you're pointing young men, the men on your staff, the men under your charge as your players, and that's such a powerful testimony to the fact that you're getting it done, and we just want to encourage you to keep doing that, keep fighting the fight, even when you have those tough nights, long bus rides home. This is beyond winning. It's what it's all about, and to hear those kind of things, pretty strong.
That's what it makes, and that's what I tell people all the time. It's the relationships. It's what it's all about. Seeing those guys, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, Coach, again, tickled to death to have you here. We're excited about what you're doing at Sardis and the direction you got that program going. And if we can help you in any way, we'd love to. Yeah,
I appreciate y'all so much for having me. This is an awesome thing y'all are doing, and any way I can help to keep it going, I more so will do anything I can to help it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.